What I'm going to be talking about, I'm sort of encouraged by the number of people who could be potential investee companies. Primarily what I'll be looking at that seeking funds, seeking external PE funding is all very nice. It's sort of an option which is an option in addition to the debt. Let's understand what are the challenges. How do we deal with a PE investor and completely total outsider coming into our company, a company that we have nurtured, we have sort of dreamt about, we have sort of put our blood and toil into it. How do we give it away? And what are the issues that we should be looking at? So first of all, most important issue when you're looking at PE funding or a VC funding is structure your transaction very, very carefully. You should evaluate your funding options. So what does it mean that you need to evaluate your funding options? Basically, it means that you need to understand that are you willing to part with the equity capital of the company? Are you more comfortable with debentures? Are you more comfortable with preference share issuance, or you're looking at a combination of equity and debt both? These are the fundamental issues before we even go into any kind of challenges into bringing an outsider into your home. It's important that you structure your transaction very carefully. I have paucity of time, so I wouldn't be able to go into the nitty-gritties of which structure is better. But having once decided that you want to have, let's say, an equity investment into a company, which basically means divestment of your equity. So you're a 100% owner, it's your baby, it's what you've nurtured in the past for 5 years, 10 years. And now you want to be sharing a part of that dream of yours with a third party who may have a very different thought process in how to take it forward. So what are the issues that you should be looking at? The most important aspect of an investment arrangement. So now I'm talking about the investment agreement or an investment arrangement that you will be negotiating with the PE funds. The most important part that you have to draw here is that you have to draw a balance between getting growth capital and protection of the capital of the investor, and the flexibility that you want to keep with yourself with respect to the operations and management of the company. It should not happen that you give away the capital, you take the capital and give away your equity, but it starts impeding in your operational and management control. And how does it happen? Let's understand that. Each of the investor who invests into the company typically asks for board nomination. That's very fine. What you need to understand is, point number one, are you giving them board seat which is more in proportion to what they have invested? So first question is it in proportion to the equity capital that they are bringing in? Point number two is, are they requiring themselves to be part of every quorum of the shareholders meeting and the board meeting? It's a very usual ask for the PE funds or the VC fund to be part of every quorum of the board meeting, which basically means that the investor or the promoter or the entrepreneur or other shareholders cannot have or hold any meeting of the board without the presence of the investor nominee at the board meeting or the shareholders meeting. Sometimes what happens is that this is fine for the first level of board meetings, but there are rescheduling done. There are certain adjournments. What you should be negotiating is that first an agenda is issued, a meeting is, call is given. If the investor nominee does not turn up for the meeting, the adjourned meetings, the promoter should have the flexibility of holding those meetings to ensure corporate compliances. The third most critical part of the corporate maintenance and the management part is that what kind of affirmative rights that you're giving away to the investor. Reserve matters are basically where the investor has to say yes, or he has to give his consent to any kind of decision that you're taking with respect to the company. And this is a big challenge. The biggest challenge is not in the exits that I've seen. The biggest challenge is the synergies between the investor and the promoters. Promoters are usually used to doing their own work, taking their own decision, and suddenly you have a veto right being given to the investor. So basically what it means that what you negotiate for your affirmative rights is very critical, because there could be a situation where you have negotiated that no decision with respect to signing any new contract or in any new franchise in any territory or any licensing or leasing of contract can be done by you without the veto right exercised by the investor. That means you need their consent.